Hi, everybody. Welcome to Chat and Craft with Lorraine. I'm Lorraine Tierney. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Warner, New Hampshire. And it's saying that my microphone is muted. I think you should be able to hear me. Okay. Today is Monday, March 25th, and I usually come on around 7 o'clock. But I have been invited to go visit my grandson tonight and spend the night there. So I'm getting this on early so that I can take off and not miss a live with you guys. And I have a card that I want to show you. So it's a fun fold card and it's pretty easy to make. And it would make a nice card for if you're giving it to somebody at the office and you need place for more signatures. I'm not going to set it up that way today, but it would be possible to do that. Please let me know if you're watching today, and if it's your first time, I'd love to know where you're from, and I'm happy to meet you. You can also let me know if you're catching this in a replay. Thanks very much. Okay, I'm going to switch my cameras over so we can get started. All right, so what you need to make this card. I have just two small pieces of DSP. Hey Sue, how are you? They are 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. I have one basic white regular matte. This is 5 1/4 by 4. And I have one full sheet of basic white thick cardstock. And we're going to use all of this to make the card today. Let me see if I can get in the camera a little better here. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is score this whole piece at 4 1/4. Okay, and then, hey Joanne, I'm going to cut it in half at 5 1/2. So I have one regular card base here that's 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4. Then I have one that is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. It's scored at 4 1/4, but I'm also going to score it at 2 1/8. Okay, and I can set my trimmer aside. We won't need that again. So now I'm going to fold that in half on the 4 1/4. And then I'm going to turn it so it opens up backwards. Hi, Barb. Greetings to Iowa today. I have a confession to make. I think it was on Saturday, I made 2 complete cards backwards like this. Maybe I had this card on my mind. And then we're going to fold on that 2 1/8, we're going to fold back to the right. So we're going to have a little Z fold on that end. All right, so this is going to be inserted into here and extend a little bit, but we have one more thing we're going to do to it before we do that. And I forgot, we will need the trimmer one more time because I'm going to take a very, very small slice off this piece that has the Z fold on it, the back piece. I'm going to put it on that dark edge that's just to the right of the cutting channel. I'm just going to use that little bit to be my mark. It's probably, I don't know if that's a 1/16 of an inch or a 32nd of an inch. I think it's technically called a smidge. So we're just going to take a little smidge off of that edge so that this will fit inside a little better. But we're not going to put it inside yet. We have a little bit more that we have to do first. So we are going to do a little bit of stamping on this piece that's 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm going to use this Rays of Light stamp set. I love this background stamp. I've used this so much, and it's one that is going to be retiring and going away. So it's available while supplies last. And I have this great big F block that I put it on, and I'm going to try to get it on there nice and straight. It's a pretty big stamp. Okay, and I'm going to ink this up with my Smoky Slate ink, and I'm moving that 5 1/4 by 4-inch piece of cardstock out of the way because I want to stamp off before I stamp on that. So maybe if I move it out of the way, I will remember. Okay, and I've just gotten a whole bunch of ink on that top edge. I don't know if you can see that, but I am going to take my chamois and just clean that off. Okay, and then I missed a little bit down here and over there. Okay, so I'm going to stamp off once, and I'm going to use this stamped off image to help me place my cardstock as well, as I want to be sure I get the image all the way out to the sides. Okay, and now I'm going to try to stamp this in the same place again. Hi, Debbie. Thank you for joining me. Sorry, I keep putting my arm right in front of the camera. And there we have the stamped off Rays of Light. So it's a lighter shade of gray. That was Smoky Slate that I used. Let me just clean this stamp off and get it out of the way before I get ink all over me. Okay, so now we are going to take our regular card base and we're going to glue this onto the regular card base, but only putting glue around the edges. Okay, no glue in the middle because we're going to do a little die cutting with this. Oops, I don't want to put that back on. Okay, so let's get this centered on here. There should be a nice border all the way around. It's really a nice stamp, so it really is. Okay, and now I'm going to go over to my Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm going to cut a circle. I think this is the 3rd largest. Let me check. It is the 3rd largest of the Stylish Shapes dies, and I'm going to put it through open. I want to cut through 2 layers. I don't want to cut through this 3rd piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to put it through my cut and emboss machine, and you might hear it squeak. I'm going to have to ask my husband if he can take care of that squeak for me. Okay. Can you hear that? Almost sounds like a bird chirping. All right, so that went through my Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. I can tell it's getting to be time for new plates because they're shedding. And it easily cut through both layers. And since we didn't glue it, I can take this piece out. I don't need that for this card, but I am going to use this circle. So we're going to do a little bit of stamping on that circle. With, oh, here it is. The Circle Sayings stamp set. And this is another one that is retiring with this catalog. We're going to use this wave stamp. And I have that on a block already. And I'm just going to ink it up in the Memento. I have two pads out here because one's a little dry and that was the dry one. I think this is the one I have re-inked. Okay. So right on that piece of white that we die cut, we are going to stamp this image. And I'm using the Memento because I'm going to color it with blends. And the blends won't smear the Memento. So I'm going to use some of the daffodil. Oh, that's Lemon Lolly. And I think I used Daffodil Delight on my card. I want Daffodil Delight. I picked those up from another project, and I'll show you that other card. It's a little bit different. I'll show you that when we're done. But I'm going to color in my sun. And I'm starting with the light, Daffodil Delight, and I prefer the bullet tip. And I'm going to do a little bit in these rays. And I'm not going to worry if I'm coloring the whole thing because they're like sun rays. They don't have to be solid. And then I'm going to use the dark one to come around the edge of the sun and the wave. And then I'm just going to go over these lines. Okay. And there's our beautiful sun. Where I have the light and the dark, I'm going to go over that dark one more time just to blend it in a little bit. There we go. And now we're going to color the waves. And I'm going to do the same thing, coloring all of the background with the light azure afternoon. This is such a pretty color, blue. And with blends, you really don't have to be super careful with your coloring. You can go right over that Memento line. You can go in different directions a little bit. And because these are blends, they're alcohol markers, it all blends together. They live up to their name very well. And then I'm going to do the top here. I'm going to leave the foam for now. And I'm going to add some of the dark along these lines. And once again, I'll just go over that quickly with some of the light. And when it dries, you'll still see where it's a little bit darker, but we'll have some shading. Okay. And I'm going to leave that foam white on this one. I did not on my other one, but I am going to on this one, and I'm going to put a little Wink of Stella. And my pen, I'm trying to push a little more out. Our Wink of Stella has been not available. The supplier's having trouble keeping up with the demand, and so it hasn't been available, and my pen is getting pretty dry, and I missed a big section right there. Okay, there we go. So that is colored. So now we need to assemble our pieces of the card. So remember, this Z-fold piece is going to tuck inside kind of backwards, what we would think of as backwards. Before we do that, I'm going to add these two pieces of my DSP. And I thought these are from the daisies. It's the back side of a daisy one. And I thought it looked like both sky and water, that it could do both jobs today. And these are cut 1/4 of an inch smaller than that section so that it can fit right on those two sections. Oh, I have 2 open glues. Okay. There we go. And now we are going to get ready to put this inside here. And I really did get some shed going on. Here I have a little adhesive eraser that will take some of that off. There we go. I think it's time for a new bottom plate. All right, so I just want to make sure that I have trimmed enough little bit of that off that when I close the card, everything stays inside. And yes, that does. So I'm right almost up to that score line. I'm not quite touching the score line in there because I don't want it to be super bulky when the card is closed. If I got right into the score line, it might not close too well. And this has to go this way. And I want to make sure I'm lined up on the sides. And I'm not hanging out. My slip is not showing. No slips hanging out. Remember those days of slips? Whew. All right. So we are almost done. Oh, I didn't stamp on the inside yet, but we'll do that in a minute. So now, as you might imagine, this is going to fit right here. Okay, and then when we open the card, it's going to be attached to the piece that extends. I'm only going to put my glue right here on this piece of the DSP, on this folded spot. All right. And I'm going to give that a minute to adhere before we open that up. And I have this nice block that my friend Joanne gave me, a nice heavy block that will hold that in place, and we'll get our sentiment ready. So for our sentiment, we're going to use a couple of the words from the Wanted to Say dies. We're going to use Happy Birthday. So these have the bubble letters and then the background that goes behind it. I've already cut the background for the Happy Birthday. And now we're going to cut the detailed words. And I'm going to put an adhesive sheet on the back. They come in this big package like this, 12 sheets. I've cut this to about the same size as my piece of cardstock here. And I'm going to peel off that paper and put the sticky side right down on the back of this cardstock. And I've gotten stickiness on the back here. I don't want to get that all over my plates too. Okay, so that's on the back. I can give it a good rub with my finger, or I can use the bone folder. And now I'm going to put my die cut on the front, and I'm going to run this back and forth a couple of times in my cut and emboss machine, because it's a little bit thicker with that adhesive sheet on the back, and I want to make sure I go all the way through. I'm going to check it, and if I hadn't, it looks like it did go all the way through. If I hadn't, sometimes I put it back under this way, upside down. But you can see it did pretty well. And now I can poke it out of here. It's my handy dandy take your pick tool. I have to be careful of the eye on the birthday. It stayed on this one. That's good. Hopefully it will stay in place when I take the adhesive off. I'll just pop out the centers of some of these letters. One more here. Okay. And then happy. Having trouble picking that up. Okay. So now we're going to remove that another piece of release paper from the back. I can't seem to get that under there. There we go. And you need to remove it gently so you don't stretch your word out too much, because you could pull the letters and stretch them. So sometimes it's easiest to start in the middle, just kind of walking the letters along and putting them in place there. You can see how cute that is. We're going to put this on the front of the card. There we go. Oh, I forgot that it's not the birthday where the eye comes off. It's in my sending dies that I have to watch. Okay, so let's take a look at our card. It now opens like this. Okay, so it extends. And if you were going to have it be signed by a lot of people at the office, you'd probably leave these blank, okay, so that people could sign it there. I thought it would be nice to put this right here. So we're just going to use, I think I'll use a little tear and tape, because it's a little bumpy with this fold there, and I don't want glue to squeeze out. So I'll just put some pieces of tear and tape around here. And on the H. Okay. So let's pull these pieces off. Oh, I still haven't stamped on the inside. Don't let me sign off without stamping on the inside. And I still have a couple other cards to show you. This is a really fun fold to make because it's not tricky. It's not hard. Easy measurements, easy going together. We'll come back and put some bling on that in a second. I'm going to put my bling out right there. But let's go ahead and stamp on the inside. So it says happy birthday on the front. So I thought I would use Hope Your Day is a Happy One from the So Sincere stamp set. This has a few stamp sets or sentiments I really like. You're in my heart and prayers, and knowing you brings joy to my heart. Those are the ones I seem to reach for quite often in here. Okay. Oh, I just got a big glob, I think, on this one. Oh, and it's on here very crooked. Let me clean that and move it. Yeah. I have gunked it up. Okay. I need to get that a little straighter on my block. Okay. And I'm going to ink it a little less vigorously. Okay. Let's get the card base straight. Whoops. And then see if we can stamp it straight. It's not the straightest it's ever been, but not bad. So there's the inside. And here is the outside. And we need to put some bling on the front. I have just a couple of these yellow adhesive backed solid gems left. So I think that's what I'll use. I think I'll put one down there. Oops, that one got stuck to the paper. And one over here. And maybe the last one right up there. All right, so here we have our card. So it's really quite cute. So here's the other one I did that's pretty similar, although I colored in the wave there. And I decided I liked it better with the wave looking foamy. I forgot to put bling on this one. But there's the inside is the same. And then the first one I made, I stamped the rays of light on that piece, that same blue DSP, a bigger piece like this. But I didn't love it. I used Daffodil Delight, and this is where I used the sending dies and sentiment, sending sunshine to brighten your day. I like this card, but I wasn't sure how I liked the blue and the yellow together. And then the way I saw it originally only had one piece of paper here. I added the second piece. But let me know what you think. Do you like it on the DSP or do you like it with the smoky slate better? I think I like this one better. I do like it with the sentiment, sending sunshine to brighten your day. They're both good sentiments. Oh, Sue, I'm glad you're going to try it. That's great. It's fun and easy to make, not too hard at all. So you like the smoky slate one better? I think I do too. I think that one's my favorite. So thank you very much for joining me today. Be sure to take a look at those retiring lists. I've posted them on Chat and Craft with Lorraine, and I've put them in an email. But some stamps and paper and dies are going away, and you'll want to know what you need to put on your shopping list before they go. All right. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.